he just accidentally stepped on a hammer. But to his horror, he found that the hammer slipped and just broke the iron frame of the billboard on the wall. With a loud bang, the fixing screw was knocked off by the hammer, and the iron frame made a 180-degree turn. The man passing by was unfortunately hit on the head and killed. Something even more bizarre happened at the same time. Here, a homeless man was dragging a manhole cover while walking on the road, but he accidentally bumped into a stone that blocked the wheel of an oil tanker whose brakes had already failed. Without the obstruction, the oil tanker slowly rolled backwards down the slope. At this moment, the US ambassador to the UK was just stuck at the intersection at the bottom of the slope. With a loud crash, the rear of the oil tanker directly hit the ambassador's car. This caused the oil tank to rupture, and a large amount of gasoline poured down through the window of the vehicle. The gasoline kept flowing into the car, and the unlucky officials inside wanted to escape but couldn't open the car door no matter what, before the minister could take any precautions. At this moment, the homeless man happened to drop the cigarette butt in his hand. Unexpectedly, it just ignited the gasoline on the ground. With a whoosh, a big fire started, and the ambassador didn't stand a chance. Immediately afterwards, the second-in-command of the US Embassy in the UK took the ambassador's place and became the youngest foreign ambassador in history. The reason why he was so lucky was actually all planned by the son of the devil. It all starts with this little boy named Xiaoming. Since the boy was born, he has never been sick, but this didn't bring him good luck. Instead, other children regarded him as a freak. No parent was willing to let their child play with him, and even animals would avoid him because he was born at 6:06 on June 6th, which was exactly the birthday of the devil Satan, and this time was also considered ominous. At the same time he was born, 3 meteorites also hit the earth, and there is a prophecy about this impact in the Bible. These meteorites symbolize evil. From the day the meteorites fell, it means that the devil has descended to the world, and people will face an unprecedented disaster. Coincidentally, at this time, Xianga's wife was just about to give birth. When he rushed there in a hurry, he was told that the child had already died, and his wife's uterus was damaged due to a difficult labor. She might never be able to get pregnant again in the future. Xianga was so sad that he wanted to see his child, but unexpectedly, he was stopped by a priest. Then the priest took Xianga to another delivery room and showed him a way out. There was a baby born at the same time as his son. The priest told Xianga that, unfortunately, the baby's mother had died during the difficult labor, and now the baby had no other relatives. Your wife doesn't know about your son yet. You can adopt this baby, and then your wife won't be sad. When Xianga heard this, thinking that his wife wouldn't be able to have children anymore in the future, after a moment of consideration and fearing that his wife would be heartbroken, he decided to follow the priest's advice. He brought the baby to his wife but didn't tell her the truth, and raised the baby as their own flesh and blood. Under the careful care of the couple, the boy grew up safely and healthily, and they poured all their parental love into him. And Xianga's wife still doesn't know that Xiaoming, whom she has raised with all her maternal love, is not her biological son at all. There were no strange things happening during this period until one day, when his wife took Xiaoshui to the zoo. A strange scene occurred again. The little boy had never been sick in the 6 years since he was born, not even a common cold. What's even more outrageous was that as soon as he walked into the zoo, the monkeys became extremely scared and kept making terrifying roars, and the gorilla just looked at him and then went crazy and crashed into the glass. When the mother, Xiaomei, saw this scene, she was so frightened that they hurried away. She finally noticed that something was wrong with him, but she didn't take it seriously, which indirectly led to her own tragedy. Due to an accident that happened to the head of the embassy, Xianga naturally took his position. At this time, Xianga had reached the peak of his life and became the youngest foreign ambassador in American history. However, there had always been good luck in his family. Jack also got promoted and made a fortune all the way, but this good luck wouldn't last forever. However, on the day of his son's 6th birthday, an accident still happened. At the birthday party, everyone was celebrating for the boy. A big wolf dog unexpectedly appeared at the party. The nanny tried to drive it away, but the suddenly appeared wolf dog seemed a bit strange. The wolf dog was panting and just blinked its eyes. Immediately, a strange smile appeared on the nanny's face. As if possessed, he climbed onto the roof, tied a hemp rope around his neck, and then shouted at Xiaoshui in full view of everyone. Then he jumped off and ended his own life. This was really too strange. Everyone was stunned on the spot by this move. The reporter who was responsible for recording the party quickly took a picture of this scene. Seeing the nanny hanging in the air like a ragdoll, everyone was terrified and screamed and fled in all directions. Xianga quickly rushed to comfort his son, for fear that his son would be scared by the nanny's accident. However, the boy was very calm and waved to the wolf dog, and he knew better than anyone that this was just a trap set by the nanny. Early the next morning, the embassy was surrounded by reporters, and the boy's birthday party made the front page of the newspaper as a result. Then, a priest came to Xianga and told him seriously. He claimed that he knew the boy was adopted by Xianga, but the boy was not an ordinary child. He was the devil who had descended to the world. They had to kill him as soon as possible, otherwise more people would die. If they wanted to solve this problem, they had to find another priest named Laupa. He also told Xianga that the boy's mother was not human but a wolf dog. Xianga had never told anyone about adopting the child, but besides being shocked, when Xianga heard what the priest said, he thought the priest was talking nonsense and really wanted to teach him a lesson right away. He immediately found a guard and had the priest thrown out as if he were a madman. And this scene happened to be photographed by the reporter who had recorded the birthday party. However, when the reporter developed the photos, he found that there was a strange white light beside the priest. The reporter initially thought there was a problem with the exposure in the past few days. He quickly flipped through other photos, only to find that there was a white light in every photo of the priest. At this moment, Xianga was in an extremely gloomy mood. He immediately realized that something was wrong. While he was pondering what was going on, The priest's words kept ringing in his mind from time to time, and the death of the nanny meant that there would be no one to take care of their daily life in the near future. At this time, a woman named Julie volunteered. She didn't ask for a salary, just food and accommodation. The couple was very satisfied with Julie's performance, so they kept her and took her to Xiao Shuai's room. After the couple left, the nanny said something strange to Xiao Shuai. After that, the couple took the child to the church to pray. But something strange happened again. Just as they were approaching the church, the boy suddenly went crazy and started tearing at his mother. Fortunately, Xianga quickly controlled him. Looking at his wife's scratched forehead, Xianga was still in shock. He immediately asked the driver to turn back the same way, and only then did he soothe his agitated son. Thinking that his son had never been sick until now, his wife also began to have doubts. Xianga was worried that the truth of substituting the baby would be revealed, so he could only comfort his wife that she was just overthinking it. That night, his wife had a nightmare. She dreamed that her son was wearing a strange mask. In the dead of night, when Xianga went to check on the sleeping boy, he suddenly found a big black dog appear behind him, staring at him menacingly. Fortunately, the nanny came in time and scolded the black dog. The nanny explained that she had met this black dog when she took the boy out to play. Because the boy liked it very much, she brought it home and adopted it. The next day, the priest came to Xianga again and made an appointment to meet by the bridge near the church. After saying that, the priest turned and left, and the reporter also took another photo of the priest. In order to completely get rid of the priest, Xianga readily agreed to the appointment. Xianga arrived at the appointed place on time. The priest told Xianga bluntly that his wife was already pregnant, but the demon boy would never allow this child to be born. The boy would first target the fetus in his wife's belly, then his wife herself, and finally, Xianga wouldn't be spared either. The only way to solve all this was to find the priest named Laofu. When Xianga heard the priest slandering his son like this, he immediately warned the priest, "You're talking complete bullshit. I'll kill you." As soon as Xianga left, it suddenly started to thunder and rain heavily. The priest realized that this might be the devil's revenge, so he hurried towards the church. But just then, the door was suddenly locked from the inside. Before the priest could move to another place, a lightning bolt struck and broke the lightning rod on the church tower. The 3-meter-long iron rod directly shattered the glass of the skylight, and the priest was fatally struck. The reporter on this side couldn't wait to develop the photos, and that strange white light appeared again. By comparing the light beams in the pictures, the reporter found that the abnormal light beam was the way the person in the photo would die. When Xianga got home, his wife told him that she was pregnant. This news was undoubtedly a bolt from the blue for Xianga. Before he could recover from the shock, he saw the news of the priest's death. But at this time, Xianga still held out some hope. Unexpectedly, an accident happened to Xianga's wife soon after. His wife was standing on an armchair, perhaps telling some jokes. But then his son rode a scooter and directly crashed into the armchair. The woman lost her balance instantly due to the instability of her center of gravity. In a hurry, she quickly grabbed the edge of the terrace with both hands. She begged her son, Demir, to call for help, but Demir just stared at her indifferently. Eventually, the woman ran out of strength and accidentally fell to the ground on the 3rd floor. After that, the woman was taken to the hospital by the nanny for emergency treatment. When Xianga received the news, he rushed to the hospital in a panic. Fortunately, his wife survived, but the fetus couldn't be saved. Moreover, his wife herself had broken her spine and would have to lie in bed for the rest of her life. However, Xianga still refused to believe what the priest had said. At this moment, the reporter suddenly came to him and revealed his discovery. At the birthday party, there was a ring of light around the nanny's neck, and then the nanny committed suicide by jumping off the building. The same phenomenon also appeared in the photos of the priest, and now the priest was also dead. The reporter guessed that the light in the photos was an omen of death. For example, for the nanny who jumped off the building, the light beam was around her neck, and for the dead priest, the light went straight through his chest. Besides, there was a 666 symbol on the priest's body. What was even more terrifying was that the day before, he found that there was also a similar sign on his own photo, which meant that he might be the next one to die. That was why he came to Xianga. Then the two of them began to conduct an in-depth investigation. They went to the priest's home and found that the walls were covered with papers from the Bible, which seemed to be used to resist the attack of the devil. When they looked through the priest's diary, they found that it recorded the date of the boy's birth and the meteorites that fell in Eastern Europe on the same day. Even the itinerary of Xianga's family was recorded accurately. At this time, the reporter handed Xianga a photo. In order to uncover the truth of all this, the two decided to find the priest who had persuaded Xianga to adopt the boy back then. They went to that maternity hospital, but things had completely changed there. Then the two noticed a nun. From the nun, they learned the whereabouts of the priest at that time. The two immediately set off on the journey. After a lot of traveling, they finally found the priest on a small island. But when the priest took off his cloak, it almost scared the two of them. The fire 6 years ago had burned the priest's face beyond recognition, and he even lost his ability to speak. It turned out that soon after the boy was born 6 years ago, in order to destroy all the evidence, someone set a big fire and burned down the hospital, and all the materials had been destroyed. Lao Luo managed to escape by chance and could only hide in the monastery under an assumed name. At Xianga's repeated requests, the priest endured the severe pain and wrote down the burial place of the boy's biological mother. Looking at the priest's miserable state, Xianga decided not to make things difficult for him anymore. On the other side, the nanny took the boy to the hospital under the pretext of visiting. After distracting the medical staff, while the patient, Xianga's wife, was still asleep, the nanny injected poison into the infusion tube,